Hi everyone, I'm Sumi, and earlier this year I was interviewing for Biomedical Sciences PhD programs, and I made sure to write down every interview question that I was asked, so hopefully it could help someone else as you are interviewing. So without further ado, here are all of the questions that I was asked. So number one, tell me about yourself. Very common question, classic, you probably will get it. Number two, tell me about your research. Also a question that I got a lot. And beneath this, there were often other questions that were like asked or followed up. So for example, someone asked me, what was the readout of your experiment? Someone asked me, what will you do next? What will your next experiment be? Another question was, what are some limitations of your methods used in your experiments? I don't think I've said experiments this many times in a row. Something else was, what is a challenge that you faced during your research and how did you overcome it? And then the third big question, I'm going to be looking at my laptop, was someone asked me to tell them about the research I did before my current research project. This one threw me for a little bit of a loop because I thought most professors would ask just about my current research project, but people did ask me about what did you do before this research project, and someone even asked me to tell them about my first research project. So you definitely should know in detail about all of your research projects. Something else someone asked me was, what has been the most rewarding research experience that I've had? Classic question as well. Since I applied to microbiology and immunology programs, a couple of people did ask me, what drew you to microbiology and immunology? And someone also asked me a question which I was also shocked by. It was, my background is a little bit diverse. I didn't always do microbiology and immunology. I had some epidemiology and public health research. So someone asked me, if you say you're interested in microbiology and immunology, why did you do this other research project that is epidemiology and public health? And as long as you're able to explain that, I think it's fine. I think diverse research experiences are important. And I still got into that school. So if that's your scenario, if it's similar to mine, definitely don't fret. Another question that people asked me was, what are your research interests for grad school? Because you could change research interests. So they just want to know, does this school have professors who are doing the research that you are interested in? Another question was, what professors are you interested in at this school? This was a question that I actually stumbled on because I had forgotten the professors, so don't be like me. Another question was, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? And another one was, how do you think this program would help you reach your career goals? Another classic question that I got was, tell me about a time that you've worked in a team and how did you like that? Someone also asked me, related to research actually, what research papers did you read that underlie your hypothesis? This one was also kind of shocking to me because I was like, oh, okay. Something that was also nice was professors also asked me about things that weren't just research focused. There were things that I had written in my personal statements, my statements of purpose. For example, I had mentioned that I was a student aide for a blind student in undergrad, and a professor did ask me, what exactly does that entail and what did you learn? Someone else asked me, because it was in my transcript that I had taken this climate change policy class, and a professor asked me, what is this climate change policy class? Explain it. What did you learn? What exactly did you do? Something else was, people also asked me, what do you do for fun? What do you do outside of science? I really love this, and I thought it was such a green flag when professors asked me this because, we are holistic people, so yeah. There were also some more specific questions that pertain to my research in particular. For example, I was talking about my research had to do with the skin. So a professor, even though I didn't do wound healing, but a professor did ask me, how does wound healing differ between mice and humans? And that had really nothing to do with I didn't do wound healing at all. But she asked me, and I guess she wanted to test maybe how I could think about it. I didn't know the answer, but I gave an answer. Something else that someone asked me too was, how can I compare my treatment? Because the treatment I was proposing for my project was this bacterial-based treatment. So the professor was like, how does this compare to a gene therapy, for example? I didn't work on gene therapy, but I guess she just wanted to see how, what I could think about, if I could think quickly on my feet. I don't know. So there were a couple of questions like that were really going more in depth on my project. There were also a couple of odd questions. For example, I got a question. Literally, the PI asked me, "Are you stressed or depressed?" I don't know if that's actually allowed. I hope, yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing to ask, but it was only that one PI who asked me that question. And there was also she also asked me questions on, oh yeah, what are qualities of a good PI? Maybe she wanted to see like, yeah, what I was looking for in a professor. So she asked me as well about that. And she also asked me about my experience with grant writing, which was interesting, but that was also a question that I got. And yeah, to close it out, a couple of PIs also asked me, what do I want to talk about in this interview? A lot of them actually let it be like students led. They were like, you tell me what you want me to know, which was nerve-wracking but also kind of nice. And then they of course asked, do you have any questions for me? Of which the answer should always be yes. Even though I never have questions, but yeah, the answer should be yes. Anyways, this is a really short video, but those are just some of the questions that I got when I was interviewing for PhD programs. I hope this was helpful, and if you want me to explain, go in more depth on how I answered each of these questions, I'd be happy to. See ya!